Live 5 News starts now with your campaign 2020 coverage.
Good Saturday morning to you. I'm Carter Coyle. It is primary day here in South Carolina, and we're starting off this morning with team coverage to bring you exactly what you need to know about voting today. Right now, Summer Hector is live on James Island at one of the polling locations there. We also have meteorologist Joey Sovine tracking your election day forecast. Let's start, though, with Summer because the polls opened just a few minutes ago, Summer, and there are some new changes in the voting process this year.
Yeah, good morning, Carter. I'm here at Stiles Point Elementary School on James Island where polls just opened moments ago, and I am joined by Deanna McGuire. And like you said, there are some new changes with this new process. One of them being South Carolina is the only state voting on Saturday today. And Deanna, what are your thoughts on this new day for voting?
I actually prefer Saturday, but any day of the week I'm going to be here.
Gotcha. And Deanna has been coming to this location for 20 years now, voting here at Stiles Point Elementary School. And why do you think it's so important to come out today for the first in the South Democratic primary?
Very important to vote, period, no matter who your candidate is. And I just feel like it's our duty as citizens to get out and vote.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Deanna. And the polls open, like I said, at 7 a.m. and will be open until 7 p.m. today. If you're in line at 7 p.m., you will be able to vote. I'll continue to keep you guys updated throughout the morning. But for now, live on James Island, Summer Hector, Live 5 News.
Thanks, Summer. You got to wonder if we're going to have better turnout versus other primary years having it on Saturday. Good to know. Thanks, Summer. If you are planning to vote today for the Democratic primary, you'll be seeing some familiar names on the ballot, but you're also going to hear about some folks you haven't heard about in a while. Here are the candidates who are still in the race for the Democratic nomination, whose names will be on that ballot today. Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Tulsi Gabbard, Amy Klobuchar, Bernie Sanders, Tom Steyer, and Elizabeth Warren. The State Election Commission says though some folks withdrew from the race after absentee voting was already underway, so the ballots were done, and they're still on that ballot. Those former candidates are Michael Bennet, Cory Booker, John Delaney, Deval Patrick, and Andrew Yang. You will not see Michael Bloomberg on today's ballot as he did not file to run in South Carolina. You also won't be able to write in any candidates on that ballot. For more on what you need to know, including where your polling location is, head to live5news.com. You can find information on our homepage or by looking under the big red box. A little bit of a chilly start to our morning here in the Low Country on voting day, but it's good news because we will see some sunny skies later today. Meteorologist Joey Sovine is joining us now. Joey, what do people need to know if they are planning to go out and vote this morning?
Well, good morning, Carter. Coats. That's the story of this morning. You'll definitely need the coats early on today, and you'll even need a jacket into this afternoon, but we'll warm up a little bit. Lots of sunshine, though, start to finish. That's one thing that will not change. Temperatures inland mid to upper 30s, as cold as 33 in Georgetown, 38 in Summerville, 39 North Charleston, 41 in Mount Pleasant. A little bit of a breeze out there that's making everyone feel like the 30s. So it is going to be a chilly start. A couple of snow showers up in the mountains of North Carolina, but for us, high and dry. We do expect lots of sunshine today. You can see that here on Future Tracker all the way through this afternoon. So it will be a quiet day if you are headed out to the polls. Once again, make sure you're dressed for the chilly temperatures as you head out over the next couple of hours. By lunchtime, around 55, upper 50s to around 60 this afternoon. A cool and breezy day, but it will stay sunny throughout. Now tonight, we do have freeze watches in effect due to the potential of some of you being as cold as maybe the upper 20s come tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that and a warm-up that will follow tomorrow morning's cold temperatures. That's ahead in a few minutes. Carter.
Right, thank you, Joey. Democratic presidential candidates are continuing to vie for votes across South Carolina. Last night, Pete Buttigieg spoke to crowds in the Midlands here. The mayor of Sumter also awarded him the key to the city. And Joe Biden was also in South Carolina. He was upstate holding campaign events in Spartanburg. He's been confident about a victory in our state, especially with recent polls that had him at the top. But he's been struggling to perform in those first 3 voting states we've already heard from. And Senator Elizabeth Warren traveled to both Greenville and Aiken to canvass those areas. She spoke to voters saying she is the woman who will beat Donald Trump. And she was not the only one promising to push out the president. Senator Bernie Sanders called out President Trump during an event in St. George, saying he should be more worried about the coronavirus than rallying here in South Carolina. And meanwhile, the president is back at the White House after his visit to the Low Country yesterday. He departed from Joint Base Charleston after a rally at the Coliseum in North Charleston that brought 13,000 people out. More than that, probably. Bill Sharp was in North Charleston at the campaign rally and has more on what the president talked about and the crowd's reactions.
I don't think I've ever experienced anything quite like this. Being inside a Trump rally is like being at a big revival, only the preacher is the President of the United States. This was a red meat crowd. When I say red meat, the president threw out topics and the crowd, thousands of them, at least 13,000 of them, went nuts. They interrupted the president periodically by shouting 4 more years, 4 more years, and then they also shouted USA, USA. The president bragged about the economy here in South Carolina and the low unemployment. He's right. It's very good. He trashed the Democrats, some of the names he's used against them, Mini Mike, Sleepy Joe, Crazy Bernie, and the crowd went nuts. I've never, quite frankly, seen anything like it, but then I've never been inside a Trump rally before. These were friendly people, basically middle-aged and older for the most part. There were a few young people, but for the most part, it was an older crowd. And let me tell you, they love President Trump, and he loves them. Inside the North Charleston Coliseum, I'm Bill Sharp, Live 5 News.
News today as we work to bring you the latest on the results from today's Democratic primary. Stay with us. We'll have live updates as team coverage continues tonight on Live 5. And looking ahead, where a newly passed bill in the House will go next, it's looking to restrict a number of tobacco products like vapes. But first, we've got everything you need to know if you plan on attending this year's Charleston Wine and Food Festival. Stay with us after this break. New information this morning, 2 men in Orangeburg are accused of beating a third man during an argument about $30 and a trailer. Ernie Stabler and the third and James Olenek now face charges for attempted murder, kidnapping, and burglary. Orangeburg County deputies say the fight happened at the victim's home on Thursday. The victim says Stabler and Olenek came to his home arguing over a trailer and insisting that he owed them $30. Stabler was denied bond as he was already out on bond for previous assault charges. Olenek's bond was set at $30,000. A Berkeley County restaurant owner is facing charges this morning. Leanne McGurk was arrested yesterday by the South Carolina Department of Revenue agents. They say she didn't report almost $600,000 in sales over a 3-year period. McGurk is the owner of Lakeside Restaurant in the Bonu area. She's been charged with 4 counts of tax evasion. And looking ahead to this upcoming week, the Charleston Wine and Food Festival is back. Tickets still on sale for some of those events, although many of the activities are already sold out. The opening ceremony is free for anyone to attend. It kicks off Wednesday at noon. You can expect to see chefs, farmers, artists, and foodies from all over the world coming to Charleston for this event. It's the 15th year for Wine and Food. Again, it's Wednesday through Sunday. And next up, it's one of the best rivalries in college baseball. Still ahead, Kevin Bilodeau breaks down the Tigers and Gamecocks matchup in Columbia.
Well, it's a beautiful but chilly start if you're headed out to vote this morning. If you just have some weekend plans, we'll talk about your weather you can expect coming up.
Now, your first alert forecast from Live 5 News.
All right, 7:14 the time here as we wake up and get started on our Saturday morning. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your weekend. A live view outside. Beautiful sunrise underway. This is the Ashley River James Island connector downtown Charleston out towards the peninsula and the Charleston Harbor on a sunny but a chilly start to our day. Kind of fools you a little bit by all that sunshine. Looks a little bit warmer than it is. 38 degrees the temperature this morning, so it definitely is chilly out there. A little bit of a breeze as well. Right now, as we look around the Charleston metro area, we range from 41 in Mount Pleasant, 39 downtown, 41 out on Folly Beach over towards Sullivan's Island, 37 this morning in Moncks Corner. Coldest spot we can find is Georgetown at 34 degrees, 36 currently in Kingstree. And when you include what little bit of wind we have out there, it doesn't take much when you're in the 30s, and you'll certainly notice it. So grab the coats if you're headed out to the polls with the primary this morning. Make sure you do take the coats if you're going to have to stand outside for a minute or two. May need the gloves and the hats as well. We do expect lots of sunshine, though. Temperatures warm through the 40s this morning, mid-50s by lunchtime, upper 50s to around 60. Beautiful sunny Saturday, but it will be cool and breezy through the afternoon. And heads up, 6 o'clock here, you can see as we get into this evening, temperatures will drop pretty quickly. So as we head towards sunset, temperatures will start to fall down into the 40s. And by tomorrow morning, some of you as cold as the upper 20s. More on that in a second. As far as the radar, though, we look good to go. Overall, the weather pretty quiet here across the southeast. Some snow showers this morning in the mountains of North Carolina. That's an indication of how cold this air mass is that is moving in. And we will see lots of sunshine today. Just a few clouds perhaps this afternoon. All that snow stays up in the North Carolina for us. Sunshine today, clear sky, cold tomorrow morning, but sunshine continues through our Sunday afternoon. So a quiet weather weekend, just a little bit on the cooler side. And that's really been the trend for about the past month. We've gotten to the weekend. Temperatures have cooled down, and that's where we're at again for this weekend. Upper 50s for highs this afternoon, mostly sunny, breezy, and cool. Now, heads up, tomorrow is March 1st. That means growing season officially begins. Point that out because once growing season begins, technically, we start to get freeze watches and warnings issued again as well. Upper 20s, low 30s, Highway 17 corridor westward could drop to or below freezing for a couple hours tomorrow morning. Near the coast, along the coast, out towards the beaches, upper 30s to around 40 degrees there, but you want to make sure you protect your plants if you have some of those out there that could be sensitive to the really cold weather for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon, we start to warm up. Cold start, but a sunny sky, high temperatures inland in the low 60s. Look at this, forecast highs by Monday. We're in the low 70s and upper 70s on Tuesday. Like we've done in many weeks before, we get toward the end of the week, we do start to cool down. Maybe not as much this next upcoming week as we've seen over the past couple weeks, but it will be turning a little bit cooler late in the week. But dry weather today, dry weather tomorrow, dry weather on Monday. Rain chance does start to go up a little bit, slight chance of rain on Tuesday. Looks like the best rain chance for the week ahead will be Wednesday, and then we start to dry back out Thursday and Friday.
Now, from the Low Country's news leader, it's time for the George Sink Sports Desk.
Good morning, everybody. We'll begin with college baseball, and it is the best rivalry in the sport. Clemson and South Carolina meeting again on Friday to begin their 3 games in 3 stadiums annual series, kicking this one off on the Gamecocks turf. Game 1 opening at Founders Park in Columbia. No score in the 4th. Dylan Brewer takes care of that for the Tigers as Brewer waits and just launches one over the wall into right field, a 2-run shot. And just like that, Clemson goes on top by the score of 2-0. Switch down to the top of the 5th. Tigers going to add to that lead. This time it's Davis Sharp. He takes one into left field. Another 2-run homer puts Clemson on top 4-0. Top of the 6th, another runner on for Keir Meredith. And I think you see the pattern forming here. Meredith going to take one over the wall into right. Another 2-run homer. It is 6-0 Tigers, and that was more than enough for Sam Weatherly on the mound. He would go 7 innings, did not give up a hit, and had 11 strikeouts, including this one right here. Just a dominant performance on the mound for Weatherly. Bishop England alum Jeffrey Gilbert comes in relief in the 8th. In the bottom of the 9th, Gamecocks still don't have a hit. Brady Allen ends that in style. A solo shot into left cuts that lead down to 7-1. And ends the no-hitter for Clemson. Gilbert, though, would recover. He had 4 strikeouts and 2 innings of work, including this one to end it. Tigers take Game 1 over the Gamecocks. Final there was 7-1. To high school basketball on the girls' side, Military Magnet facing off against Scotts Branch in the lower state finals in Florence on Friday. The freshman for the Lady Eagles came to play. First quarter, Chasmin Bradley weaving her way through the defense, gets her way into the rim for 2. From number 0 to number 1, Rakia Jakes with the Euro step. Military Magnet jumping out to the early lead. Second quarter, Scotts Branch would rally, but then Satoya Martin takes over. Her 6 points in the quarter puts Military Magnet ahead at the half. Jumping out of the fourth quarter, still a close game. Kaylin Davis pads the Magnet lead with only a few minutes to go as she pulls up, puts this one high off the glass for 2. But it was this layup by Bradley as she takes it right through the lane, going in for the bucket that would put the game away. Military Magnet going on to the 1A state championship game next weekend as they won this one 51-43 over Scotts Branch. That's going to do it for sports. Everyone have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, in Washington, the House of Representatives passed legislation to put broad restrictions on flavored vaping and tobacco products. If that becomes law, flavored tobacco products would be banned, including menthol-flavored vaping items and cigarettes. This follows a ban on most flavored vaping products announced by the White House last month. The legislation, though, not really expected to pass in the Republican-controlled Senate. President Trump says he's nominating Texas Representative John Ratcliffe once again for Director of National Intelligence. He tweeted that announcement yesterday. In it, the president calls the Texas Republican an outstanding man of great talent. Trump wanted Ratcliffe in the post last year, but Ratcliffe withdrew his name amid bipartisan criticism. The White House, though, hopeful he will get the confirmation this time around. And another case of the coronavirus with unknown origins is confirmed here in the U.S. Up next, where that case was just discovered as health officials raise their threat level of the deadly virus. The World Health Organization raised its coronavirus threat assessment to very high. And in California, a second case with unknown origins was reported. Skylar Henry has the latest as preliminary test results indicate new cases in Washington state and one in Oregon.
Officials in Northern California say another person has been infected with the coronavirus without having any known risk factors.
Like the California case reported 2 days ago, our third case did not recently travel overseas or have any known contact with a recent traveler or an infected person.
Also Friday, officials in Oregon announced a suspected case of the virus, which would be the state's first. Washington state authorities said 2 people, a woman who had recently visited South Korea and a student, appeared to have contracted the virus.
We've received a presumptive positive result from the state lab today for a school-aged adolescent. This individual became ill on Monday with fever, body aches, and a headache.
At a campaign rally in South Carolina Friday, President Trump took credit for containing the coronavirus so far.
My administration has taken the most aggressive action in modern history to prevent the spread of this illness in the United States. We are ready. We are ready.
As countries around the world report new coronavirus cases, some stores are starting to run low on supplies. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell issued a statement saying U.S. economic fundamentals remain strong, but said the coronavirus poses what he called evolving risks. White House economic advisor Larry Kudlow was more upbeat.
We just think the economy is sound, and therefore, I just don't think this short-term stock market plunge is going to have any long-term effect.
Wall Street saw another sell-off on Friday. It was the market's worst week since the 2008 financial crisis. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar says the Trump administration may invoke the 1950 Defense Production Act to ensure production of any needed supplies for the antivirus effort. No cases reported in South Carolina, thankfully. House of Representatives Representative Wendell Gilliard says he plans to hold an informational meeting about the coronavirus this Monday. He'll be joined by local doctors and government officials. If you're interested in going, that meeting will be at North Charleston City Hall in the Buse Conference Room Monday at 2 o'clock. Well, precincts are now officially open across the state for the First in the South primary election. We'll check in with our Summer Hector to see how poll workers are prepared for crowds of voters expected throughout the day. And after today's primary comes the biggest day on the Democratic primary calendar. We'll be breaking down what to expect from Super Tuesday next on Live 5 News.
Live 5 News starts now with your campaign 2020 coverage.
Well, good morning and welcome back Thanks for joining us on this very important voting day. I'm Carter Coyle. Our team coverage of the Democratic primary continues this morning. Meteorologist Joey Sovine says that you can expect some cold temperatures if you're waking up early to head to the polls. We'll check in with him in just a few minutes for an updated forecast for today. But first, we want to start with Summer Hector. She's live on James Island at one of the polling locations there. It's known to be pretty busy. Now, Summer, have you seen a good number of voters so far?
Good morning, Carter. Yeah, I have actually. There's a pretty good line developing out here, and according to poll workers here, this is not uncommon. And now, this is the first time South Carolina is hosting a Saturday election, and South Carolina is actually the only state voting today on Saturday. I'm going to step behind the camera to show you guys a little bit better view of how this poll is looking here. Again, this is Stiles Point Elementary on James Island, and usually people are voting on Super Tuesday, but again, we are the only state on Saturday and Super Tuesday coming up on Tuesday. I've spoken to a lot of people who have said they don't really care either way if it's on Saturday or Tuesday. That was a lot of the early risers here who said they'd be early risers anyway, whereas some other people, some younger people, college students, and others that said that they really like it being on Saturday because it gives them more time to come out and vote. And then again, this line is going out the door, pretty good line here in James Island. And now the Democratic primary is open to any registered voter in the state, and the Republican primary, there is no Republican primary this year. President Trump did hold a rally last night in North Charleston, though, and in 2016, South Carolina saw 370,904 voters for the Democratic presidential preference primary and 740,881 voters for the Republican presidential preference. And I spoke to poll workers earlier this morning who told me they expected to see about 600 or 700 people at this location, and they said that's only about a quarter of what they will see in November. But they did say this is one of the more popular locations on James Island. The other closer one around here is James Island Charter. This poll opened at 7 a.m. and will be open until 7 p.m. today. Reporting live on James Island, Summer Hector, Live 5 News.
All right, let's get a look at your weather this morning. You may be fooled by the two ladies behind her that are in shorts this morning. It is a very chilly start to the day. Live look out at the Yorktown. Let me show you those temperatures out there towards James Island. About 40 degrees this morning. Many of you inland in the upper 30s. A little bit of a breeze on top of that. It feels as cold as 32 right now in King Street and in Orangeburg. Johns Island, James Island, about 37 degrees. There are some snow showers to our north and west. Those are going to stick around in the mountains for the next day or so. For us, we're looking at a nice and quiet day, maybe a couple of clouds this afternoon. That's about it. So a sunny day ahead, a beautiful day. Just have to make sure you dress for the chilly temperatures this morning as we go later this morning towards 10 o'clock. We warm up pretty quickly, 55 at noon, upper 50s to around 60 this afternoon. It will be a breezy day. Notice that wind up out of the west and northwest, 15 to 20 miles per hour, some gust up to 25 to 30 miles per hour today. So make sure you have the jackets ready to go even through this afternoon. A cold night tonight, and then we begin our warm-up. We'll talk more about that ahead in just a few minutes. Carter.
Thanks, Joey. And for all of his latest weather updates, even while you're on the go, download the Live 5 First Alert weather app. You can find it for free in your phone's app store. Well, the goal in the primary season is gaining as many delegates as possible in each state. A candidate needs 1,991 delegates to secure his or her nomination at the Democratic National Convention. Our state will help assign 54 of those delegates today. It's the largest number of delegates of any of the first four primary and caucus states. And there was a steady stream of people lining up to get inside to see the president's speech last night. Harv Jacobs tells us the lucky ones who got in were grateful, but those who didn't get in were a little bit disappointed.
Thousands of tickets were made available for the rally, but it was first come, first served until the place was filled up. The police worked in perfect harmony. The Secret Service, TSA, North Charleston Police, and Charleston County Sheriff's deputies quickly led Trump supporters through the many metal detectors that were set up. Folks waited patiently to get inside the Coliseum to see the president. Many told us it was worth the wait.
I like that he loves our country. I like that he supports the military, supports law enforcement, doesn't apologize for the country, doesn't apologize just for being a proud American.
A little after 6 o'clock, the fire marshal made the call that the Coliseum was filled to capacity. Folks who wanted to get in were turned away. We spoke to one woman who couldn't get here in time because she had to work.
I had to go to work today, so I couldn't make it here on time. But when I got to working, I flew over here trying to make it to get in, and just when we were about to go in, they told us that we had no time.
The good news, there were no disturbances reported during the time the president was here. At the North Charleston Coliseum, Harv Jacobs, Live 5 News.
Thanks for that update, Harv. And tune into Live 5 News this evening. We'll be bringing you live updates on the results for the Democratic primary election as they roll in. After today's vote in our state, the focus for candidates running for president shifts to Super Tuesday. Super Tuesday could significantly shape the direction of the remainder of this race, and it has the potential to establish a breakout frontrunner. Voters in more than a dozen states will cast their ballots for president on Tuesday, and a large number of delegates are also up for grabs. Currently, the leading candidate is Bernie Sanders. But political experts say that what happens in today's primary here in South Carolina is so important because it will likely influence Tuesday voters at the polls. A North Carolina man who survived a near deadly fall is meeting his rescuers for the first time after the break. How firefighters are able to get him to safety. Stay with us. And with the Democratic primary happening today, download that free Live 5 News app to stay updated on all the results from the polls. We'll release them as we get them today. Listen to this. A North Carolina man who survived a 75-foot fall from a bridge was able to meet his rescuers this week. He actually survived. The 24-year-old had stopped on an interstate bridge to help a stranded driver, but a speeding semi-truck forced him to jump off. Tina Terry was there as he met the people who got him to safety.
To these emergency workers, Jeremiah Cribb is a walking miracle.
I was expecting for him to have some serious injuries.
The last time they saw Jeremiah, he was curled up 75 feet below the Yadkin River Bridge. He and co-workers tried to help a stranded driver on 85, but a speeding semi forced him to jump off the bridge.
Honestly, when we pulled up, the state trooper that was there was holding the flashlight over the side of the bridge, and his coworker was there, and the lady he stopped to help was there, and I think we both looked at each other like, this guy's going to be dead when we look over this thing, and he wasn't.
On that cold, wet, and dark morning, these two firefighters rappelled down the bridge, an exercise they'd only practiced on this tower at the fire station. It is only 45 feet high.
Training, you can mess up and learn from it. When you're out there doing it, you better know what you're doing. So.
That's what we train to do and I enjoy, so wasn't scared at all.
They made it to the ground safely, and EMTs on the bridge talked to Jeremiah on the phone.
And he was standing up, and I was kind of shocked. I was like, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm just sore and hurting." I was like, "Okay." I wasn't expecting that at all.
They were able to rappel him back up the bridge.
As soon as his feet hit the ground, he said, "Do I have to go to the hospital?" I was like, "You're getting on the stretcher, and we'll talk about it in the ambulance."
Today, the public servants reunited with the man they now consider one of their own.
He stopped to help people, and that's what we do. So in many ways, I think some of our guys feel like they were rescuing one of their own.
Amazing story. Well, up next, what a Georgia teenager is accused of doing as she's arrested several states away. Stay with us. We'll be right back on Live 5 News.
Now, your first alert forecast from Live 5 News.
All right, 7:45 here on our Saturday morning. Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. I'm meteorologist Joey Sovine looking live right now over the Ashley River Bridges downtown over to the Ravenel Bridge on a clear sky, chilly morning here starting out our Saturday with temperatures in the upper 30s. A little bit of a breeze out there as well, so make sure you have the coats ready to go if you're headed out the door early on today. Sunshine will help out a little bit, but the breeze will pick up this morning. It's going to make it feel a bit on the chilly side. 43 Mount Pleasant, 44 Sullivan's Island, 38 Hanahan, and 38 degrees in North Charleston. If you're headed out to the polls to vote in the primary today or this morning, polls opened at 7 o'clock. 36 in Georgetown, 38 degrees in Kingstree, 39 degrees in Moncks Corner. So it is a chilly morning. The wind, thankfully, not terribly strong out there, but it is enough to knock a few degrees off the temperatures. This is what it will feel like for you as you head out the door. About 32 degrees in Goose Creek. So a cold morning starting out here. We'll warm up into the mid-50s by lunchtime, a day where maybe a trade trade the heavy coat for a jacket by the time we get toward lunchtime into this afternoon. Upper 50s, a breezy day throughout. So you know how that kind of plays out if you're headed downtown Charleston. You get that breeze. When you're in the sunshine, feels okay, but that breeze, you certainly want the jackets through this afternoon if you're in the shade, as we'll see the winds about 15 to 20 miles per hour. Now, we do expect a dry day, lots of sunshine here as we kick off our weekend. A couple of snow showers up across North Carolina this morning. Those will remain there. Maybe 1 or 2 clouds by this afternoon, but overall mostly sunny sky here as we start out our weekend. How about our Sunday? Well, we'll start it out cold tomorrow morning, colder than this morning, but by the afternoon, still lots of sunshine in the forecast. So really quiet weather weekend. It's just the temperatures that have changed a bit. So mostly sunny, breezy, and cool today. About 55 in Manning, 57 in Moncks Corner, about 58 in Mount Pleasant. Now, tomorrow morning, you have to remember, tomorrow is the first day of March. That means technically growing season has begun. That's the first day of growing season here across the low country, which means that now we'll get freeze watches and frost advisories issued from the National Weather Service on those cold mornings. So tomorrow morning, we do have a freeze watch. Make sure you cover up the plants. Inland, upper 20s to low 30s. Highway 17 corridor westward, we could drop down to freezing or below for a few minutes overnight tonight, or maybe a couple of hours, especially inland. About 33 in Mount Pleasant, 38 at the beaches. Beaches should stay well above freezing, but a cold start tomorrow morning. Tomorrow afternoon will be in the low 60s for most of you, about 58 degrees when the cool spots out on Folly Beach. After that, by Monday, we're in the low 70s with upper 70s Tuesday, Wednesday, slowly dropping off late in the week, but much warmer temperatures ahead. Now, we'll stay dry through Monday, 72 degrees to start out the week. Should be a really nice Monday. Tuesday, clouds increase, small chance of a shower. Best rain chance this week looks like it's going to come through on Wednesday with a cold front. Some of the rain could linger into Thursday. We'll keep you updated on that, and then sunshine in mid-60s for the end of the week.
All right, thanks, Joey. News from around the South. A teenager from Georgia has been arrested for murder and arson. Monroe County Sheriff's Office says U.S. Marshals found 16-year-old Candace Walton driving a stolen vehicle in McCracken County, Kentucky. Deputies say she's responsible for setting her own home on fire and killing 2 family members. They say she then stole the car at that home and it eventually ended up in Kentucky. Officials still working to identify the bodies from the fire. Walton will be in court on Monday where she will be tried as an adult. An escaped murderer out of Alabama is now back in custody after an hours-long standoff. Morgan County deputies say they got a tip that Daniel Minor was in the area. Minor was serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole for a 1993 murder when he escaped from prison last Saturday. A SWAT unit, a bomb squad unit, all assisted with multiple law enforcement agencies when they were responding to the home where Minor was hiding out. They say he surrendered without a fight after several rounds of tear gas were deployed. And flags will be flown at half-staff tomorrow as a tribute to Sumter County deputy who was killed in the line of duty this week. Governor Henry McMaster requested that the flags be lowered from sunrise to sunset for Corporal Andrew Gillette. He was shot and killed Tuesday while serving an eviction order. Deputies fired back at that suspect, killing him as well. Gillette's funeral will be held tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the Sumter County Civic Center. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigations is continuing its search for a missing 15-month-old little girl as officials turn their sights to a mobile home. Authorities were seen searching the home in Sullivan County, Tennessee yesterday. That girl, Evelyn Boswell, has been missing since December. And they say they've gotten more than 700 tips since their investigation began. This also comes as the girl's grandmother bonds out of jail. Angela Boswell apparently was arrested earlier this month. Police say she was driving the stolen car that was connected to the Amber Alert. Still no word of any sightings of little Evelyn. In your consumer alert, coronavirus fears have sparked a mad dash for cleaning products. Retailers like CVS and Walgreens say they've noticed a big increase in sales of hand sanitizer, cleaning wipes, and face masks. The demand is so great that officials at CVS are a little bit worried there could be a shortage. And Bath & Body Works says it's also seeing a spike in the demand for hand sanitizer. One brand that's not changing its approach due to fear of coronavirus is Corona Beer. The beer's name, obviously similar to the name of that deadly virus, but Constellation Brands, which brews the lager, said in a statement that customers, quote, understand there is no link between the virus and our business. But still, 2 recent surveys showed the brand is suffering from all the negative buzz around coronavirus. This also comes as Constellation Brews is launching a new Corona-branded hard seltzer. Coming up on Live 5 News, the great debate over the best Girl Scout cookie. Just seeing the post from Justin Timberlake here will show you which side he's on.
All right, a look outside this morning. We're waking up to a chilly start. Temperatures are in the 30s and low 40s. We're headed to a high today in the upper 50s. Headed out to vote this morning. Make sure you do grab the coats. But look at that warming trend. We'll ignore tomorrow morning at 32 degrees. Let's focus on not too many times, Carter, do you look forward to Monday, but 72 and sunshine. We'll take that.
I don't know. I still might not. Check this out. Justin Timberlake is weighing in on the best Girl Scout cookie debate. The singer posted videos on the subject on Instagram. And by looking at his reaction, I think that it's safe to say he is a Samoa fan, as you and I are as well.
Absolutely. Can't get enough of those.
I love those things. And do-si-dos, those are good too.
Yeah, we were talking about which ones you put in the freezer. We put the Thin Mints and the Samoas in the freezer.
It's the best.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I wonder. I'll try to find some when I get home for breakfast. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back at 7 and 11 for full coverage of the primary.